Hey there, I'm Kelly Sienkowski with Potomac Local News, and today we're shining the spotlight on our local school board election. With me today is Maureen Siegmund. Maureen, how is your day going so far?
Great. 1 week until school starts. We're very excited here.
It's very frantic right now in a lot of households and a lot of schools, I think.
Uh-huh.
So, Maureen, let's just start off by getting to know you a little bit. Can you tell me about you?
Sure. My husband and I chose to make Stafford our home 20 years ago. We used to spend weekends down here when we lived in Northern Virginia. And when we were looking to kind of put down roots to build a family, we figured what better place than the place we go to for fun because we enjoy being there. Um, we work from home for a defense firm. We have 4 children that'll be in schools next week. So we'll have a senior, we'll have a freshman, we'll have a seventh grader, and we'll have a kindergartner. Um, we volunteer a lot in the community with our church. My husband coaches a lot of youth sports teams. We volunteer at the food pantry. So we're out and about a lot. And we love the community we're in. I moved to the Garrisonville District 10 years ago. We had lived in the Falmouth District for 10 years before that. Uh, and, we've never looked back. We have had such a great experience in the school system. And I decided to run for the school board 4 years ago because I realized that nobody remaining on the board had children in the schools. And that perspective is really important. Um, it's, it's essential to have kind of a broad range of perspectives, but when a parent is not there to talk about or to at least think about how a particular policy, rule, or procedure is actually going to impact their student or their household. Um, Sometimes things get overlooked, just simple little things. When you think about how will this actually work in the average Stafford household in the morning or in the afternoon. And that's the voice I intended to bring to the board, and I've really enjoyed bringing over the last 4 years.
Thank you, Maureen. So, for our viewers, what we're doing is we've invited all of our school board candidates this year to participate in these interviews, and we're asking all of them the same 5 questions. So,
Mhm.
Maureen, we'll go ahead and jump into that.
Sure.
Our first question, with Stafford's rapid growth and the increasing school enrollment, what do you think are the biggest challenges ahead, and how should the school board plan to ensure the schools can handle those demands?
Well, that's a great question. One of the things I've said, and people either love or hate it, is we don't have a growth problem, we have a growth management problem. We know that prior boards, before anybody serving now, has approved some of the development that is coming on board for us now. Um, and we haven't really done a lot to prepare for the construction of those homes, the whether it's on the traffic, whether it's our first responders, and in particular our schools. Um, I feel very, very strongly that we need to look at where our children are and build schools there as we need them. I am grateful we had trailers to kind of bridge the gap, but I prefer we not have a gap. I am very much in favor of um, being prepared for the students as they arrive, rather than playing catch up later. We all know that it is much more expensive to pay for emergency fixes than to plan things out and not have an emergency on our hands. So I look at the data a lot. I love looking at the numbers and seeing which neighborhoods are coming online, where those neighborhoods are currently zoned, what that impact will be for those schools, and on what timeline, so that we can prepare for where our next construction project might be or how we might have to shift the existing population to accommodate for the new growth. I do not like collecting. I'm not a fan of, well, I'm only going to approve anything, a park, a school, a hospital, any public project if it's in my district. Sometimes my district, especially being very small with a very, very little bit amount of free land, is not the right place for a project. We need to build. The best thing for my district is to have a school built where it's needed so that every student can be at a school close to their home. Being the center of the district, Otherwise, we are busing kids through or to my district, and that costs more money as well, and time and resources. And we just want kids to go to school um, without having to drive past another school to get there.
That makes sense, Maureen. So our next question is, other than funding, what do you think the school board's top priorities should be?
For me, it is the recruitment and retention of high quality educators. We have some amazing talent here, and some of it are first year teachers that have just kind of we've learned are incredible because we're their first stop on their career, but I would like to be their last stop on their career. Um, I do not like that we have families here that or teachers here that feel like they have to move to another division to either earn more money or maybe even not about the money to get that leadership experience that they're looking for to be the next step in their career. I feel very, very strongly about making sure we have those opportunities here for our teachers so that they can grow in leadership and we can keep that here in our county for our students. And of course, having the money to pay them a little bit more would be great as well. But if we don't have the structure here for them, even the money wouldn't keep them here if there aren't enough opportunities for them to grow and develop.
Thank you. So our third question, the school board and the Board of Supervisors often share responsibilities when it comes to funding and long-term planning. How would you describe the ideal working relationship between the school board and these other county departments?
Um, I couldn't hear the second part between the school board and.
Between the school board, the Board of Supervisors, and other county departments?
Oh, sure. Well, I think that the current Board of Supervisors has done pretty well at recognizing that um, the school board has a very specific set of tasks set forth by the Virginia Constitution, and that we are literally elected to carry out those tasks. And they have similar tasks that they are responsible for, and that we should be working together to make sure that everything, we are moving everything forward, that no one section of our tasks is more or less important than the others. Having great working relationships with the Board of Supervisors is crucial to doing that. I don't expect them to know everything about schools. That's why there's a whole nother board. It is its own job, and it takes 7 of us to get it done. So to ask them to be as familiar with it as we are is unfair, and I don't expect that. I've enjoyed working with Supervisor Diggs over the past year as chairs, and with Supervisor Allen and Ms. Guy as vice chairs, so that we can kind of build a better working relationship between our boards. It's why we had a joint town hall to, kind of work together to hear the community, and their needs and how it all intersects. Like everything we do here is going to impact everything else. Nothing is standalone in Stafford County. We're a community, and that's what community is. And when we all succeed, we all succeed, and that's really our goal. And I just would really like to continue to build on that over the next 4 years.
That sounds good. Okay, Maureen, if you are elected, how would you approach the budget priorities? What areas of school spending do you believe we need more investment in? And where, if anywhere, would you look to cut or reduce costs?
Oh, that's a tough one. We have definitely some capital needs that need to be caught up on. The supervisors were fantastic this year in for the first time kind of fully funding our ask for the 3R, which is our repair, replacement, and renovate. That's our scheduled maintenance. It's the stuff we schedule on a 10-year rotation. In the past, our ask for that annual maintenance has not been fully provided for. And that means we have to cut projects or defer projects or delay projects. And I hate that because what gets cut are the things closest to the students. We have to worry about things like security, like our security systems, the all-call, the fire alarms. We have to make sure, of course, those are up and running. After that, we have to make sure our electrical, our HVAC, our plumbing, that's all up and up and running. And then things like flooring and some kind of the finishes, those actually also contribute to this to a safe school environment. So those have to be up and running. And then the things that are kind of left over are the things that our kids touch every day, the furniture, the playgrounds, the athletic facilities, and those end up getting cut because they are not directly tied to the safety and security of our facility. And if you're a parent, you can tell when things have been pushed off, deferred, or cut. So having now established in our budget that we are going to kind of schedule that to fund that scheduled maintenance helps to actually save money down the road because as we've previously discussed, emergencies cost more than maintenance. So I guess that's where I'd like to cut spending is I do not want to spend money on emergencies anymore or as much because right now we just plan for emergencies and we hope for the best. And, the question always is if we don't fund it this year or if we can't afford to fix it, what's the backup plan? And the backup plan is always expensive. It's paying subs more on specific days because we don't have enough subs. And in order to get them to fill the days that we struggle to fill them, we have to pay more. If we had, for some of our hard to staff positions, we have to figure out ways to supplement them with stipends for their, maybe their CTE experience or something extra they're bringing to the table that's hard for us to find. If we could kind of standardize our funding across the board so that it is attractive to what we're trying to do, then we won't have to figure out how to find more money to fill in those holes later. So that's generally where I'd like to see. And, I like a long-term plan. We've been trying for several years to differentiate the funding we give to schools for student services. Right now it's a flat rate for every student. We'll give the principal, I forget the dollar amount, but a small dollar amount per student in the school. And that goes to fund things like assemblies, help subsidize field trips so that parents aren't covering the entire cost, or to provide materials that the entire school will use. As you can imagine, some of our schools are Title I, some are not. That same, if let's say it's $25 a student in a school with an active PTO, for example, that has a population where families can contribute more, that $25 goes a lot further than if you have a school with a high needs population and you are covering some more of what we would consider the basics out of that funding. So we have proposed over this past several budgets to differentiate so that the students that might be free and reduced lunch or English language learners or special education that require some additional tools for learning, that's factored into the school-based allocation rather than just a flat rate.
All right, Maureen, our last question. What makes you the right person to represent your district on the school board? And what do you want voters to know before they head to the polls?
If you had asked me 4 years ago, I wouldn't have known how to answer. I just was somebody who was willing to help, and I still am. What has changed over the last 4 years is, my access to, my knowledge, for example. I brought to the table 7 years of working in federal education policy. I've added that now 4 years of working in state and local education policy and being able to bring that information together. I'll have completed my MBA by the end of this year. That's not something I had 4 years ago. I work in HR and benefits now. That's not something I was doing 4 years ago. And those, thankfully, are skills I was able to bring to the table as we hired our new superintendent. 4 years ago, I only had 3 children in 2 schools, and next year I will have 4 children in 5 schools. So my relationships I've built in all of our buildings and across the county, my ability to find the information, to get the information, and kind of bring solutions to the table makes me the best person for this job. And I just want the public to know that nobody is going to work harder for your kids because, if I'm already doing it for my 4, what's 32,000 more? I'm going to be doing this anyway. Elected or not, I'm going to be at meetings. I'm going to be asking questions. I'm going to be finding answers. I'm going to be, I might only have 3 minutes to speak at board meetings rather than my role on the board. If I was a member of the public, I would only have 3 minutes, but I would use every single one of them. So I'm happy to continue to do it, and we'll be here for the long haul as a parent of students in our schools. And I just love what we do and want to continue making it better every day.
Well, Maureen, I want to thank you so much for jumping on with me. For our viewers, please make sure to keep checking in as we keep shining the spotlight on these local school board elections. I'm Kelly Sienkowski, Potomac Local News. Thanks for joining us today.